MacBook Pro user for so long that my first one wasn't even called a MacBook Pro. It was called a PowerBook. But please do not look it up. We don't have time, because look what just arrived. This is the new M3 Max powered MacBook Pro in the all-new Space Black. What's the new color like? Should you go 14-inch or 16-inch? And what about M3, M3 Pro, and M3 Max? We've got a lot to cover today, so let's get started. Hi, I'm MICHAELJOSH, your gadget matchmaker, and over the last decade, I've made it my job to show people around the world that tech can be easy, fun, and exciting. On this channel, I give you special access to the products I review, the events I attend, and all the interesting people I get to meet along the way. So, if you're a longtime Mac lover like I am, or a new one, give this channel a like and subscribe, and I'll help you find the right Mac to match your needs. This is our M3 series MacBook Pro unboxing and review. Let's start with an unboxing. First, let's get it out of this brown box. Look at that, Space Black. I've already told you, but as you can see from this black Apple logo and the black wallpaper on this box, we're unboxing the Space Black model today. Flip it around, look for the green arrow, pull on these tabs, and finally, we can lift. Notice your Mac is wrapped in paper, not plastic. Let's pull on this tab and set it aside for later. First up, the designed in California packet, and inside, some instructions and 2 black Apple stickers. Also in the box, and also color matched, is a braided MagSafe cable, and last but not least, a 140-watt charger. By the way, the wattage of the charger that you get in the box depends on what size and model you'll get. More on that later. Now it's time to peel off this wrapper so that we can take our first look at the new 16-inch Space Black MacBook Pro. So excited. Look at that. Very nice. Everyone is talking about this new Space Black color, and rightfully so, because this is the first time that the MacBook Pro has been available in more than just 2 colors. Of course, there's the OG silver finish, which dates back to the PowerBook days. Raise your hands if you know what that is. Meanwhile, the first space gray Mac was actually a MacBook back in 2015. It then made its way to the MacBook Pro for the first time in 2016. Apple says the finish on this Space Black is designed to greatly reduce fingerprints. MacBook Pro models have sort of been good at that, something that my sort of black Midnight MacBook Air struggles with. Sometimes it's easier with context, so here's a side-by-side with the silver MacBook Pro and the Space Gray model. One more thing about this new color, you don't actually get a choice between Space Gray and Space Black. If you buy a 14-inch MacBook Pro with the M3 chip, your choices are silver and Space Gray, but if you buy the 14 or 16-inch MacBook Pro with M3 Pro or M3 Max, your choices are going to be silver and Space Black. Here's a fun fact for you. Did you know that this is the first time that Apple has announced 3 M-series Apple Silicon chips in one go? Historically, the base M chip is always announced first. M Pro and M Max follow later. But now they're all on the same timeline, which means if you order a MacBook Pro today, you can choose between an M3, M3 Pro, or M3 Max chip. Don't worry, I'll help you figure out which model to get later in this video. But having said that, as a creator whose job it is to help people find the right model for them, I'm all for this because it's less confusing. Right, let's talk about that new chip for a sec. As to be expected, M3 is an all-new chip and it's more powerful than last year. The previous M2 chip was a 5nm chip. M3 is a 3nm chip. Where chips are concerned, the smaller, the better, and this means higher performance and better battery efficiency. There's nothing like it in the market today. While improvements are all around, the focus this year has been on the GPU side of things. So anything to do with graphics is going to get a major boost. One feature worth highlighting is called dynamic caching, and let me try to make this simple for you. Sometimes when an app needs to run a task, it may need a little memory for the majority of the task, and then right at the end, a big spike. But to ensure that it's allocated enough memory to complete the task, the app will ask for this much, just so that it doesn't run out. So what happens is all this extra memory is basically reserved but not utilized, which is a waste because other apps could have used it had you not reserved it. And this is where dynamic caching comes in. It's never been done before. Tasks only get what they need at a particular time. The chip manages the rest. So other workloads can be handled at the same time. This is going to make a huge impact when it comes to gaming. And don't worry, I'll have a whole chapter on gaming later on in this video. But really, any app that uses the GPU will also benefit. Photo and video editing, 3D rendering, more specialized medical apps, all of it. It's a little known secret, but on particular MacBook Pro models, there's a feature called high power mode, which among other things lets the fans spin faster so you get top sustained performance for longer. It used to only be available on 16-inch models running M1 Max or M2 Max, but now it's also available on M3 Max models running on both 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros. To enable it, go into Settings, Battery, on Power Adapter, and switch it from automatic to high power. Okay, so M3, M3 Pro, or M3 Max. Here's what to expect in a nutshell. M3 has an 8-core CPU and a 10-core GPU and supports up to 24 gigs of unified memory. M3 Pro has a 12-core CPU, up to an 18-core GPU, and up to 36 gigabytes of unified memory. While the M3 Max has up to a 16-core CPU, up to a 40-core GPU, and up to 128 gigs of unified memory. By the way, that 128 gigabyte RAM option is new on a Mac Portable. Okay, here's how I break it down. For most users, I still recommend the MacBook Air, especially if most of your work revolves around a browser, office documents, and conference calls. Upgrade to an M3 powered MacBook Pro if you need more ports and want that better display. Also, good news, 512 gigabytes is now the base option. Otherwise, if you're a Pro user, definitely consider a MacBook Pro with either M3 Pro or M3 Max. The first being it comes with 18 gigabytes of unified memory. 16 should be the baseline for a Pro user, but also there's a reason this is dubbed a Pro chip. If you're into music production with hundreds of layers and multiple plugins, professional video editing, dealing with raw footage in 4K or 8K, long projects, tons of plugins and effects, then a Pro chip is definitely one to consider. Speaking of video editing, instead of just one, M3 Max has 2 video encode and decode engines and 2 ProRes accelerators, giving this model support for up to 48 streams of 4K and up to 13 streams of 8K ProRes video, which is insane. So to answer the question, I think most Pro users will be happy with the M3 Pro chip, maybe spend more on more unified RAM. If you really feel like you need more power, that's the time you should go to M3 Max. But if you're not feeling that crunch, you'll be happy with M3 Pro. For most of this year, I happily carried a MacBook Air over a MacBook Pro because of its portability. And if you're a Pro user like me, torn between the portability of a MacBook Air and the power of a MacBook Pro, How do you decide? Well, one reason is its display. While displays on our MacBook Air are great too, and I can say that because I use them, there's nothing quite like a MacBook Pro display. I mean, just look at that. MacBook Pros have Liquid Retina XDR displays. XDR stands for Extreme Dynamic Range, which is great if you create HDR content or just enjoy consuming HDR content like Marvel's Endgame on Disney+. When viewing HDR content, the panel reaches a peak brightness of 1600 nits and 1000 nits of sustained brightness, while viewing non-HDR content, or SDR, 600 nits, which is 20% brighter than on previous models. That'll come in handy if you find yourself trying to get work done at an outdoor cafe or a brightly lit room. There's also ProMotion, which means it supports refresh rates up to 120 Hz. Basically, this means smoother scrolling and more responsiveness. The other reason to go Pro is the massive port selection. While MacBook Airs have only 2 USB-C Thunderbolt 4 ports and a headphone jack, MacBook Pros have plenty of ports on both sides. There's a dedicated SDXC card slot, full-sized HDMI, headphone jack is there too, and of course, USB Thunderbolt 4. 2 on the M3 model and 3 on the M3 Pro and M3 Max. If you work from home and want to connect your MacBook Pro to an external display or two, here are a few things you need to think of. The M3 model supports only one external display, either via HDMI or Thunderbolt. I have a lot of friends who like dual displays. I'm one of those people as well. And if you're one of them, make sure to get at least an M3 Pro model. They support 2 displays up to 6K resolution, while the M3 Max model supports 3 via Thunderbolt up to 6K, and 1 more via HDMI for a grand total of 4. If external displays are important to you, remember these tidbits before you buy. Completing the connectivity part, there's also Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3 across the board. Over the last few years, this year especially, there's been a huge push towards gaming on a Mac. Apple's talked about it a lot, and I wouldn't be surprised if next year or so, people will see the Mac as an alternative to console or PC gaming. Many AAA titles are promised, and there's no better machine to run these games than an M3 powered Mac. Alongside all the GPU improvements that I talked about earlier, hardware accelerated ray tracing is also now available on a Mac. We first saw it on the iPhone 15 series a few months ago. So now you can expect high performance, sustained higher frame rates, and even better graphics. Plus, with game mode on macOS Sonoma, the system will prioritize your gaming needs when you're in full screen. I recently purchased an M2 Pro powered Mac Mini and have it in my console alongside my PS5 and my Xbox as a dedicated gaming machine. But wow, this week I played Lies of P on my M3 Max powered 16-inch MacBook Pro with high performance mode on, and all I can say is I just can't wait for 2024 when all of those AAA titles drop. And by the way, you can pair any controller you like with the Mac, the Elite controller from Xbox or the PS5 DualSense controller in Midnight Black. Both pair perfectly with a Space Black MacBook Pro. Apple is promising the same level of performance on this year's MacBook Pro. For M3 models, this means up to 22 hours of video playback and up to 15 hours of wireless web browsing. A little bit less on the more powerful M3 Pro and M3 Max, up to 18 hours of video playback and 12 hours of wireless browsing. Of course, one doesn't just do one thing on a device, and in my time with the new MacBook Pro, it lasted me more than a day of average use. These laptops also support fast charging. Depending on which model you pick, you'll get either a 70 watt, 96 watt, or 140 watt adapter in the box with a matching MagSafe cable. Charging is super fast. In our GadgetMatch charge test, a 30-minute charge powers the laptop to the promised 50%. A full charge on my 16-inch model took just over an hour and 30 minutes. So, is the new M3 powered MacBook Pro your gadget match? If you look at Apple's entire lineup, you'll find that there is an iPad and an iPad Pro, AirPods and an AirPods Pro, iPhone and an iPhone Pro, MacBook Air and a MacBook Pro. That Pro moniker means these devices are for pro users. Sure, if you're that type of user with a lot of money and want the best of the best, go out and buy one. I always say, if you're just a casual user, MacBook Air is for you. But if you feel like you need more power, more performance, more battery life, go out and buy an M3 powered MacBook Pro. I can go on, but simply put, there's nothing like it in the market today, and it deserves the GadgetMatch seal of approval. Just remember, there are at least 3 models out there. Pick the right one to match your needs. I enjoy using my M3 Max powered 16-inch model, but if I were to be honest, for me, I'd be pretty happy with an M3 Pro powered 14-inch MacBook Pro, and I think Space Black is going to be the one I rock this year. What about you? Is the M3 series MacBook Pro your gadget match? I'm curious to know, and while you're at it, let me know what you do for a living so I know what kind of user really is interested in the MacBook Pro. And if you've decided, also let me know which color you're getting this year. That was our 2023 M3 series MacBook Pro review. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit that bell icon so that you get notified as soon as we publish. Follow me on social media for all the behind the scenes fun stuff, and for news and updates, make GadgetMatch.com your daily habit. Until the next video, I'm MICHAELJOSH. Thanks for dropping by.